Hey guys, Jared here from GamerSlice, and I'm joined here by John, Diego, and Carl. And this is our first episode. We have not quite decided on a name for it, but one of the ideas we have is the Escaped Podcast. I'm not really for that idea, but I guess for this first episode, that's what we'll call it.
Whoa. You're against that idea, Jared?
Yes.
When were you guys on this?
Rebel!
Hey, well, I was the one that came up with the idea to have a podcast in the first place, so
we're all so happy about it too.
I get to weigh in on things. Okay. So the first thing, I guess let's just real quickly. I guess we'll actually make an addendum to this outline that I have, but let's first talk about podcast structure. So I kind of threw that out the window, but anyways, the structure of our podcast from here on out, it's going to be a bi-weekly podcast with occasional exceptions. You know, if say we do the podcast one weekend and the next weekend comes along and there's not normally one scheduled, you know, and if there's lots of news within that week, because that's one of the things we're going to be talking about on this podcast, we may just completely dedicate an episode to the news, or maybe not count it as part of the podcast, but just do a news video. Yeah. But anyways, so part of the weekly structure, we'll start out by talking about what games each of us are playing. So right now, I don't think we'll do that right now, but starting with episode 2, we will...
Wait, I just started a game that I wanted to talk about.
Actually, let's do it. This is very relaxed.
Backfire!
Well, I just started a game, and I'm like, oh, I should tell. Okay.
You were like all excited to talk about it. He's like, no talking about it.
I'm so pumped up, and Jared just shoots me down.
Okay,
man.
Go for it, John.
Okay. So I was looking for MMOs, and I found this MMO called Terra. I'm a bit of an MMO person. I've played like 10 or 15. And it's called Terra, and it's like a fantasy MMO. I normally don't go for those, but I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And so it's cool because instead of like most MMOs have lock-on, like this one, like you have to actually aim, and you can actually dodge attacks. And I thought that was cool.
Nice.
I've played like 30 seconds of it.
And you already
just
love
like,
it.
I like it.
30 seconds is good enough for me.
10 out of 10.
So, do you think you'll be doing any sort of a video on it for the channel?
I might. It's an MMO though, so we'll see.
Yeah, that would be.
You go to the point of telling us about it, but you're not going to show us.
Well, you know, this is
You'll
part
never
of it. Like the games that maybe won't make a good video for the channel, or we purely just don't have time to. This is kind of a good way to, you know, give them some exposure and just really briefly share our thoughts on them. And you know, is it a good or yeah, exposed?
Did Jared glitch out on your guys' end too when he started? When he started talking? No, it's really, he went all robot voice on me.
So I don't know,
Jared,
Carl and Diego, do you have anything to share of what you guys are playing?
Well, you know, I've been playing lots of games lately.
Like Destiny?
Yeah.
You actually went back and played some Assassin's Creed Unity and some Black Flag a couple days ago.
I have. You know, I mean, I go back just because, you know, they've always been fun games. You know, just to go around, free roam, as Hidden Blade people. That's what it's all about. I mean, it's fun for the whole family.
Okay.
But yeah,
So
Destiny really sucked into that one. Lots of fun. I'm pretty sure most of you guys out there have probably at least heard of it, or played it, or looked at it.
I've heard Destiny.
So the Taken King DLC.
I got a friend named Destiny. I do though. So.
Okay.
Is it
Is it
So-
Jared? Is that your friend named Destiny?
No. We'll talk
Why-
about this later, Jared.
Okay. So Carl, has the Taken King DLC actually released yet?
No, it still has about like 40 days or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, I was going to say.
But some new
$1 a
stuff
day.
keeps getting released every day, I swear. Some really cool stuff. People be looking out for Iron Banner gear because they have seriously done an overhaul on the Iron Banner gear. Now, if you're a Hunter fan like myself, because we're the greatest, I'm just going to be biased there. Anyways.
Fisherman.
But, yeah, they have the new, you know what, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. You guys have to
Come on, I always spoil it.
This is a podcast. You gotta talk about something.
Yeah, you have to spoil something.
Well, we have plenty of stuff on the agenda, so if Carl doesn't want to
should
spoil
we
it,
put
that's fine.
spoilers in the title for this?
Spoiler alert!
We're spoiling something.
I don't know.
We won't tell them
Just
what.
know,
The Taken King is on its way out.
Okay, I will put an
That's a
annotation
spoiler.
on screen. If he's gonna spoil something, I'll put an annotation on screen and say stop listening to the video, mute it or whatever, and I'll remove the annotation when it's okay for you to listen again.
This vague information about stuff that's coming out, is that really a spoiler?
Not
Yeah,
really.
Not really. Just
So,
just
anyways,
say it.
They've
For future, if we ever talk about real quick,
They've
if
made
we ever
it
do
so
put
that
spoilers,
for
that's how we'll deal with it.
for your new subclasses, you literally have to go on a quest to obtain that new power, which is really cool.
That's good. It kind of makes you work for.
Work for your new power. That way you don't just get it like right off the bat. You know, kind of like your other two subclasses.
Wait, can I?
But
Can I insert a quick spoiler here?
yes, you can.
Batman's real name is Bruce Wayne.
Oh, no,
Oh my god!
Spoiler.
I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there yet.
Oh my
It
god.
all makes sense now.
Just
Like
had to say
how he
that.
gets all his money.
Man, I knew
I thought
he
he was
a millionaire,
Jason
but
Todd.
Tony, I thought he
Okay,
was
that was
Tony
a good
Stark. That was where my bet was.
oh man.
Yeah.
Because everyone's Jason Todd these days.
Of course, yeah. John's
Oh,
kind of clued out to what we're talking about.
I thought
here,
it was
but,
Gumbo.
No,
I don't know
Okay.
who Gumbo
Jason
is.
Todd.
So let's get back on track.
he's double
So
his
Diego,
own.
what have you been playing recently?
Me recently, I just finished up playing Arkham Knight. Now I'm gonna probably just go back to doing a lot of War Thunder videos, get some more montages.
And we may see a review of that.
Yeah, I'll probably put out a review for Arkham Knight later. Hopefully,
guess-
not later. Hopefully soon.
Share some real quick things, just like highlight a couple of places where the game really shines, and maybe if there's any flaws that are kind of outstanding that you notice. What are a couple of those?
Do you want me to do some quick ones here, or
Oh yeah, just real quick. See,
real quick?
Yeah,
okay,
just-
right.
a couple of each.
In my opinion, the combat has never felt more smoother, but definitely I've been able to get some good combos. Like, I posted a video about a combo for like 181.
I saw that.
Yeah, that
I
was
still
insane.
feel like I
That
do
was a good
better.
video.
I still
And
feel like
he's
I
beat it.
I beat it already. I got it like 198 combo. I want to go over 200, but I haven't really been.
Wait, you beat your
Oh.
181 combo?
Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry
I
about
did.
that.
I think it was this morning.
Nice.
But I feel like easily I could go over 200. I'm already like within the top 1,000 people
Shut
of
up.
that challenge map, which I don't really know if is that impressive.
Oh yes. Yeah, he's really good at the games. He actually platinumed this one. He's platinum all 4 of them. So
Yeah, I've been a real big
big
fan of the
thing,
series.
but,
My one of my bigger complaints, though, I gotta say, I had one, but I can't really think of it quite. at
okay,
this
well, one
moment.
thing I noticed, I actually have.
Oh yes,
But I don't.
I
have
kind of remember now.
Okay, go ahead.
My biggest complaint now was more or less certain. Like I thought that a lot of the main characters, like the villains, this is kind of a spoiler, but not really. A lot of the main villains in the game weren't really fought in the main campaign per se. They were more fought in side quests. Very few of the main villains in the game were actually fought in the main campaign, which is kind of my main complaint.
Hey,
But
welcome home.
they were testing something
I'm
out.
doing a
and
podcast, so try to keep quiet. I'm
Yeah.
muted
not
right now. That's why I'm
100%
talking
sure,
to you.
I
sure
don't know.
it worked out for the
The
best.
way it sounds,
Try
I
to keep
actually
the
think
dogs
I'd kind of
quiet.
like that. But yeah, I'll have to see when I play the game because I haven't been able to play the game yet because I don't have enough space on my PlayStation because I got it for the PS4.
You know, like
but
when you actually get all this space, it's gonna be like
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have a blast.
the next darn like.
And it's good too because
6
the game
games.
came out during a dry spot. But like when the game came out, I was still playing The Witcher 3, and I've beat The Witcher 3 now. I actually beat it like a little over a week ago. I'm gonna put out kind of like just a video of my thoughts on it, not really a review, but I'll be putting out that within the next couple days as well. But one of the things on Batman Arkham Knight that I noticed when I saw it, when I was over at your house, was that the challenge maps, they're not really challenge maps, like the AR
Yeah, or
challenge mode or
challenges.
whatever.
They're not so
Yeah.
much challenge maps. They're gonna add those in later DLCs.
Yeah, it does seem like, at least from those, what they give you to start with, it seems like there's not enough combat ones. Like, there's a lot of focus on the Batmobile. Like, there's the races, there's like the battle mode challenges. So there's a lot more of those than there are of anything else.
Is
So
there like an elf race for the Batmobile? Ogre? What are we talking about?
okay, never mind. But
There's
I'm
a-
just gonna
you
dismiss.
could kind of say there's a race through hell. I don't know if that's close.
Yeah.
Like a demon thing. I got it.
Yeah, with the Scarecrow stuff.
Well, I mean, if you think Scarecrow's a demon, but
So, well, anyway, I have been. I've recently played
some would argue.
I actually went back and played some Sleeping Dogs. I played some Tomb Raider recently.
Getting all nostalgic on me.
And XCOM Enemy Unknown. So, after being The Witcher 3, I was like, okay, I need a break from open world games. Like, even if I could play Batman,
So you
I
went
would.
back and played Sleeping Dogs in open world.
Well, Sleeping Dogs early ones. But before that, I played, some Rage, which is not exactly open world. Metro Last Light, and Tomb Raider, all those that are less open world. But I did notice a couple of issues. Like Rage, I actually absolutely love that game, and I would say, I think we'll talk about it in another podcast. One of the ideas I have is for a special, a special topic is like, what are like our top 5 most underrated games?
I gotta ask you, didn't you think that that one deserved a sequel, or did you not think it deserved a sequel?
Well, it doesn't really
Sleeping
set
Dogs?
itself up for a sequel.
No, not Sleeping Dogs. Rage.
Necessarily.
Oh, Rage.
But Rage, yeah, I would love to see a game in like the same or similar universe, because it was kind of nice, because unlike a game like Fallout, it was a little more arcadey and a little more linear and story driven. So yeah,
I just love that like tribe blade-a-rang thing.
the 2 problems I have with that game, though, one being that it is a little bit on the short side.
Yeah,
it's
really short. You can
like
beat
maybe
it
like
really
you
quickly.
can beat it in like 15. I think the first time I played it years ago, 20 hours. Played it again, did every single thing again for the second time, 18 hours. So you can probably beat it.
12.
Yeah, so you can beat it like 10 to 20 hours, depending on how many of the quests.
Playthroughs.
But yeah,
Oh.
but the second thing I found kind of an issue with the game is that it reuses a lot of the same locations. Like they have you go through the same location
Yeah.
first.
And but the interesting thing that they do is like to kind of hide that fact. They change like what's going on when you go back.
Yeah, and then they change the appearance of some locations somewhere, or there are new types of enemies there. So it works, but it would have been nice to see a little more variety. But anyways, Tomb Raider, the single player is absolutely amazing. But the multiplayer lags quite a bit. And it's still actually alive. And
It's one of those games that isn't really built for like when you put so much effort into the campaign. There's no point to play the multiplayer.
What
The
do you even do
multiplayer
in the
kinda feels
multiplayer?
tacked on. Well, it feels tacked on.
Like Survive.
The multiplayer, there's like 4 modes. There's like a survival mode.
It's really
There's the team deathmatch, free for all. It's rescue, team deathmatch, free for all, and the other one I forgot exactly, but team deathmatch is the only one that's really alive anymore.
Question.
I've actually been trying to farm to level up to the max level by doing a single player.
Yeah, what's your question, John?
Are there like 15 Laura Crofts running around? Like,
That's what I was gonna ask.
Like, trying to survive, like-
Yeah,
Like,
you
I'm
get to
the
level
real
60
Laura
to
Croft.
unlock Laura as a character.
So there'd be like,
Wait,
if
just
they
a
were like
survivor.
5, like if there were 2 teams both level 60.
There's
it'd
usually, it
just be
seems
Lara
like
Croft.
every match that I'm in, there's usually like 1, maybe 2 people that are Laura, but
2 Laura Crofts.
it's not really an issue.
I'm the
though.
real Laura
Oh,
Croft.
it's like they touch and like dimensions all of a sudden like merge into each other.
It's like destroy the fragment of time.
Maybe they're twins.
Yeah.
Maybe Laura Croft was like a
I will
triplet.
say though, the multiplayer, it's if it wasn't for the way it
No,
ran,
if they had old school Laura
Norman
Croft
would be
compared to
good.
this one,
but like some
there
of
were
the-
some flaws with the new one. I'd have to admit.
Yeah, I felt like
Some some very interesting flaws.
I think the multiplayer kind of feels it's almost there, but there's some just
They changed a lot of very
things that are wrong
important
with it.
things for the fans.
Yeah, well, the few
Yes.
things that are wrong with it really affect your experience with it, so you can't really
The
get in
real
there and enjoy a
fans.
multiplayer match.
There are only very few
But it is
things
still
that-
just alive, just barely. So then Sleeping Dogs, one of the things I replayed that, I gotta say, the game actually doesn't look that good. That's one of the biggest issues, I would say.
Oh, is it graphic wise? You mean?
Yeah, graphic wise. Seemed like there was
PS3
something
game,
else
so.
that I was. Yeah, something seemed like there was something else I was thinking of, but I can't really remember.
It's just
what it
like
is.
dogs sleeping, though, right? Like, you don't need that kind of graphics.
No.
Do you?
I mean, all you got to do is keep the dogs asleep in the whole game. And
Right. I mean, is
by
it
tapping X for 15 hours.
If it's like first person, I mean, it's just completely black. No graphics needed.
Okay, well, okay. The last game, XCOM: Enemy Unknown. So XCOM: Enemy Unknown.
Wait, who do you fight in that game?
The aliens.
Oh,
So
spoilers.
they
Wait,
compose-
what?
Enemy unknown, but they're aliens? You know who they are!
Well, you don't exactly. There's a lot of unknown elements, but anyways, the game is pretty great. This is my second
But
time.
you know
playing
that
it.
they're an alien.
Okay, so one of the big things that the flaws that I would say is in the game, and this is something
That you know what they
they're
are.
fixing in
I mean, that'd
XCOM
be-
2 is that the aliens will get a free move sometimes. Like once they are within your like field of vision, like even if it's your turn, they still get like this free move, and they get to like hide and take cover and all this stuff. And it was kind of cheap, so they're removing that from XCOM 2, but it's in XCOM 1. And then also there was sometimes you have issues with the base building early on because it doesn't give you a full tutorial, and then you unlock stuff
So
later on, and then you like don't have space for it, so you have to. Anyways, you can't get all the bonuses, but
I'm assuming these are illegal aliens, right?
I mean,
Like trying
I
to
don't
cross
think
the
they.
Indian
I don't
border.
think they dedicate this entire like secret like world defense force for illegal aliens.
Maybe, you don't know.
Things would have to escalate on the border to like a astounding proportions. Like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the game overall, I would say it's a game that it's really cheap now. If you haven't played it, go out and play it. And
Just
XCOM
like
2 's
forcing
coming
them.
out, so-
Go play it! Do it
Well, I would just
Do
say,
it.
if you
Start the download. Hit the buy button now.
Get this game now! Right now, do it!
No, it's like literally they have like a small like video of like the player model like banging against like the screen, like do it, click the download now. He's behind me. Oh!
Okay, so the other thing I'll say is the really great thing about XCOM is it has a lot of good customization. Like for your different soldiers, you can change their name, their look and all that stuff.
Who doesn't want to have a name?
Load out. They got a nice tree there. And of course, then they even have like a great deal of research in the game. Really, at each step, it feels like you're progressing. You're unlocking new technology for all sorts of things. So the game has a very good level of progression.
What
But yeah.
does XCOM stand for? Is it an acronym or is it?
I don't know. Well, it's all capitalized, so maybe. But
Isn't that
Yeah,
just
I
like a
really
company though? Like,
XCOM.
or is that like that the people in the game? They probably work for the company called
that.
XCOM.
Wait, it's a company fighting aliens?
I don't know. It's I mean, when
The
I think of a
government doesn't want
like
to.
exactly, just like the movies, Alien and Aliens,
Right.
No, it's just like
Alien 3.
Ghostbusters. Like who you gonna call?
Alien Resurrection.
XCOM.
Who you gonna call? XCOM. Take care of your illegal alien problem.
all I'm getting when I say that's pretty good right there. But yeah, okay. So I googled what does XCOM stand for, and all I'm getting is .com stuff. So yeah.
What does XCOM
I don't know
stand
if it
for?
stands
It
for
stands for
anything.
.com.
It's almost
Leave
as
me
if-
alone.
It's almost as if it's like some classified military.
It's like excommunication. I know they call the aliens X-ray. Sometimes your soldier will be like, "Oh, X-ray spotted," or something like that.
Like
And
in
it's just
in
like
a
an actual
hospital,
X-ray
though?
machine and like a building.
It falls
Well,
over when
you
the
know-
wind blows.
In a sense, like when you go into some of the alien spaceships that have crash landed or whatever, there's like alien technology in like these stasis chambers. So could
Can you
very
use
well
it?
be an X-ray machine in there. Well, you get to collect them as kind of like a resource
But you
mission,
don't
and
get
you
to
can like sell
shoot
them on the
'em or-
gray market.
Wait,
Gray
you collect
market,
X-ray
Gray
machines?
market.
Wait, did you say gray market?
Yes, it's called the gray market.
Sort of legal, but not really.
Oh,
We're
Yeah,
not
it's-
quite,
You're trying to sell this
illegal,
game to the
but
people, Jared. You're not doing a good
We're
job.
getting there.
We're not
Got a
black
stick of
market,
gum for you.
exactly. We're not.
This
we're
gum
not,
is illegal gum.
half of it's chewed.
That just says Crest. You want it or not?
Okay. Anyways, normally I wasn't going to do that originally, but anyway, so we shared our thoughts on some of the games. So I've been playing clearly a lot of games now, but I'm getting ready to get more
Yeah,
focused.
we haven't clearly been playing any good.
Well, you guys play some stuff, but I've been playing like a huge variety of games recently.
I have too. I've gone back and done
and I've been playing Brink. Let me share you. I'm just gonna say the AI is shit, and the online is you. The only way to fix that is online. The online's completely dead. So if you're thinking about getting Brink now, don't, because it's not worth it. Okay, moving on. So yeah, that's part of the podcast structure. We'll basically be talking about what games we played every episode. And then the second item of business that we will take care of is news. We will talk about all the recent game news that
Talk about
happened.
politics.
There's a lot of big stuff. I will also be putting out a video probably tomorrow or on Wednesday. Some of actually probably by the time this video goes up, it may be Tuesday. But anyway.
No, it's probably gonna be Friday.
Talking about some of the new stuff, maybe some outdated. But
Place
there's
your
some
bets,
stuff,
people.
yeah, there's some stuff that I want to share my thoughts on.
Oh yeah, we should be like, all right, viewers, if this takes till Friday, you get a what do we give them?
PSN codes and Xbox Live codes for everybody.
We're gonna subscribe to their YouTube channel.
We're gonna subscribe to it. Yes, that's.
And then I'll unsubscribe a day later.
What was that?
I'm just getting ice for a drink. Sorry.
Okay.
That's dumping the body. No, he's grinding in the compactor.
Damn it,
Nice.
now my phone has to ring.
Disposing of the body.
Well, I think this title, at least for this episode, suits us. The podcast has pretty much escaped from us at this point.
Oh, I will probably also be mentioning Xbox stuff. So like,
Yeah.
'cause I play a lot of Halo.
We have
Yeah,
like one Xbox.
Pretty
Speaking of
much
that,
all I
real
have
quick-
it for.
Real quickly, is he
Yeah, that's the
since
only reason
Tomb
I-
Raider now? You're playing and getting Tomb Raider this holiday on your Xbox, right, Carl?
No. Oh, the new one. Oh,
right.
yeah, obviously.
Okay, so that game, as I said in my Square Enix video, if you guys watched that for the E3 thing, they have now announced that Tomb Raider, the Rise of the Tomb Raider, is actually confirmed to be a timed exclusive, and it's going to be exclusive for 1 year. So it's going to be coming to the PS4 holiday 2016.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
coming
too
to
I'm too impatient to wait
early
a year. So
2016.
PC Master Race.
Yeah, so I kind of find that odd, but I guess it's the fact that like Microsoft, I guess it's they're gradually working away from the Xbox because
you realize like they
That's-
bought out, like Xbox bought out, right? They were like, you will belong to us.
well, yeah, they need those titles. I mean, for one, they need something to compete with Uncharted, and they just had a terrible launch, so
Uncharted?
they've been behind this entire generation.
John,
yeah,
I love
it's-
John. It's just like Uncharted.
Are you
Uncharted
saying-
4 is coming out
Are
spring.
you
though.
saying
But every
Uncharted
game
is
will
like
have
the
to try to
flagship
compete
game of
with-
PS4?
You know what game every game is
Well,
gonna
no,
have to
but
start competing with now?
it was a big one at E3. I mean,
Is that
you
like a game where you
Uncharted
like,
was,
draw a map?
it was
I would say for
fun,
E3,
but
it's definitely
it was not really my
Uncharted
favorite.
4 is the flagship title.
Doesn't seem, it just I don't know. It just doesn't sound like a flagship title.
I agree with John.
Like maybe
I don't
Far Cry 4. That would have been
yeah,
like a
sure.
It's not
flagship title.
exclusive. That's what I'm saying. Because Uncharted 4 is exclusive to the PlayStation console.
Okay.
So anyways, we're gonna talk about what games we played, different news stuff, and as I said, I'll make a video talking about some other news stuff. One of the things I really want to talk about
2
is
minutes to 9.
Kojima Konami controversy, and maybe on this next episode we'll also talk about this as a group as well. 'Cause I mean, if you guys do your research or if you guys know anything about it,
Yeah, because I love researching.
Darn it!
That's
why
why
do
we
I have
started
to
this
actually
channel,
do love
research.
doing that?
Okay,
We all
so
love
back
our
on
research.
the third portion of our podcast will be a special topic. And that,
Yay!
yeah. So there's lots of great things. Also, if you guys have something really interesting that's happening in the gaming industry or whatever, that you guys want us to talk about, leave that in the comments, and we'll see if we can get to that in the next episode. So that's a good way
But
to.
they better be games we like. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
Okay, so for our second order of business, we will basically be talking about each of our roles on the channel. So I will be mainly focusing on reviews and maybe like first impression stuff. That'll basically be my main focus. It may not be the majority of the content I put up, but that's what my main focus is going to be. And I'm also looking to put up some Let's Plays too, and maybe even in the future we might have some live action stuff integrated into some of those, but I don't know. We'll see. So what about, and I guess you can go next, John.
I'm in charge of like snacks and reviews, and sometimes I do a montage.
Oh yeah, that's something else that I want to do. Some
juice.
Stuff too. Maybe some montages every once in a while.
Apple juice manager.
So what about you two, Carl and Diego?
I'm in charge of finances. All money goes directly to me, and some of it may come back, but you gotta be patient.
Full-time job right there.
Not you. No, I think I'll probably be just talking about Destiny a lot. I'll be like the main Destiny coverage guy. I mean, Diego can sometimes too.
Any future plans?
He won't
Destiny?
admit it.
Okay, well, actually, since you say that, like, it almost sounds like you're planning on, like, even maybe. I have no problem, I guess, with me making Destiny videos for like years to come. But do you think the game will still be like relevant in like 3 years from now or something?
Well,
like
the thing is that they are coming out with Destiny 2, and then that one will be like boom. So
wait,
Alright,
people still play Destiny? What?
Yeah, a lot of people still play it.
What do you mean still
Don't
play
ask
it?
me why. But,
It's an MMO.
I know, but it's so grindy. But I guess people that like MMOs like
All MMOs
that's
are
what
grindy.
MMOs
Have
are.
you played an
One thing I
MMO?
like about it, first
But Destiny's not like that as grindy.
person
as those, but
shooter MMO, man. I mean, that's revolutionary right there.
It's an interesting combination.
It's like
I think for
Planet
some
Side 2.
people it works. Other
I
people it
mean,
doesn't.
this game is paving the way, and Bungie has always done that. They've paved the way for some of the greatest games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Halo is like one of the big.
That was their biggest franchise.
I guess it ushered in the new age of FPSs, which is
they set up Call of
good
Duty.
thing, yeah.
They set up
which is a good thing and a bad thing because it kind of made
They
it.
set up Medal of Honor, Call of Duty,
Yeah.
any of their FPS that came right after. Because
It kind of set up the road for like really generic FPSs too.
Yeah.
They ended up being really mediocre. So there's good and bad sides to it. But,
yeah.
So Diego,
I guess my role on the channel will definitely be just posting about probably a lot of highlights in a lot of games that I've been playing. If I can put out anything like maybe walkthroughs or great pursuits in games like Arkham Knight, Destiny, Call of Duty, War Thunder. Probably mainly War Thunder. It's very easy to have some awesome moments in that.
Yeah.
But,
maybe some Let's Play elements, but not necessarily
I would like
the
to.
traditional.
I would like to, once I get a hang of it, do a lot of live commentary when I play, but like, and then just post that later.
Yeah, there's a bit of a learning curve.
Oh, and what are we gonna do with new games coming out that we've pre-ordered?
Like, would you
like Black Ops 3.
Oh well, I would basically what I've done so far.
Should we
is
all
like,
collaborate on that one,
or is
oh well, okay. If it's a game that we can, a great
Hey,
game
John,
that I'm
are
looking
you
forward
getting that
to.
one for the PC?
No, I own no Call of Duties because when they go on sale, they're still $20, and I'm not gonna pay that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I won't be pre-ordering a Call of Duty probably ever.
like in the sense
I've
like
never
is
pre-ordered Call of
the
Duty,
channel
actually.
gonna focus on a lot of new games that come out, or is it gonna focus on more obscure
Okay,
things?
well, there's different ways. Like, so obviously the AAA titles, we'll be focusing on those pretty much after they come out. If it's like a PC exclusive AAA title, though,
If we
I
get
know
that
John,
game, do you want us
at
to-
least at the moment, it'll probably be much later when they go on sale on like a summer sale or
So
just any sort
I
of
think
Steam
like
sale.
the latest game I
get
bought
these
was
games, you
Arma
want us to,
3
like,
or
So
something.
wait,
Oh, sorry.
what was that, John?
Latest game I have is like Arma 3, I think.
Yeah. Which is it's
Sometimes
fairly
they'll do
old,
early access though. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, Anyways, but yeah, new games, covering them close to launch. Indie titles maybe a bit later, but
I'll probably be doing a lot.
I think you'll see mostly fairly new titles, and by the time we put out a video on them, they'll probably have came out within the last few months.
I will also be covering like Halo stuff as well.
Yeah, Halo,
especially Guardians, because it's coming out. It's almost here.
And of course, so Carl is our
psyched.
Xbox guy on the channel. He's the only one that owns an Xbox One. So
I'm the doorway into that strange world of Microsoft.
Well, I thought I don't think you need. I don't even think you needed to say Microsoft. You just say that strange world.
I'm not sure exactly if that's supposed to be.
They'll figure it out.
Edit that out.
Okay. So yeah. Anyways, that's basically the goal. So we have me and John, maybe a little more on the critic, more critics side of things.
And then me and Diego on the more easygoing. We don't care. Love
They're more the entertainment element. I from time to time we'll cross over. I think I want to diversify myself quite a bit. I mean, pretty much any sort of content that you would see on the channel, like I'd be doing, a little bit of all of it. So anyways, okay, so the third in the podcast structure, as we talked about, will be a special topic that we will have on every episode. So for this first episode, I think this special topic really goes well with the fact that we are a new channel, and kind of like it'll let you guys know a little bit of what we're about and what some of our goals are and stuff like that. So anyways, we're going to be talking about like review philosophy, and this kind of crosses over into Let's Plays and stuff, but some things we want to kind of define are like, what is the ideal review, what kind of preparation and stuff needs to go into it, what your main purpose is for reviews or Let's Plays or first impression series. And then kind of we'll deal with the scoring a bit, like talk about how it should be scored, or should there be scores at all. So, yeah, I guess I'll start with my opinion on reviews, of course. So part of obviously the purpose of a review should be to educate the consumer on a game and be as objective as possible. I mean, there's gonna be some subjective criticism of the game in there, but be as objective as possible, and even like look at things in a different light. Like, okay, if it is subjective criticism, make it clear that like it's not like a fundamental fault with the game, but maybe it just doesn't, it's not your type of thing, and that maybe affected your experience. But yeah, basically being able to draw that line and know, what the difference between fact and what is purely just your opinion, and make that very clear. Also, as far as preparation for the review, I would say, you should pretty much have beaten the game. So, we're not going to see any reviews coming out. We're not going to like play the game for a few hours and do a review, because there's a lot of stuff you're going to miss out if you do that. So
if you don't play the game.
Yeah. And also part of reviewing, you got to review all elements of the game. Like, for instance, you can review a Call of Duty game. People say Call of Duty, you just play it for the multiplayer. So if you were going to review a Call of Duty game, you can't just like be like reviewing the multiplayer element of it, or you can't just review the single player element and take out the multiplayer. If a game has like, all that, you need to do that. Or if it has like, another example, I think Call of Duty is a good example for this. It has like the survival modes or zombie modes or something like that. So you need to touch on that in the review. You need to touch on all aspects of the game and evaluate it as a whole. That's pretty much all until we get to the scoring. We'll cover the scoring a bit, but I don't know. What else do you guys think about it?
I personally am one that doesn't really believe in a score. I believe in critiques and reviews, but I feel like it's just my score, and it's not going to be everyone's score.
I believe that when you play it, it really, if the game connects with you, that's...
I mean, because like
that's all that matters.
I could give like, I personally am not a fan of something that revolves around like scavenging per se, like something in a game like Fallout, or maybe I'm gonna like maybe like something like, I guess The Last of Us. I mean, like, I know how great that game is.
How could you say that?
I know
Fallout was one thing, but Last of Us did. No.
It's not my genre. It's not my genre. I mean, I'm sure it's a great game and all, but it's just not for me.
Great game.
And that's one thing we should make clear. Like I will be doing the Fallout 4 review, but. And I'm a huge Fallout fan. Fallout New Vegas is my favorite game. But, you know, that's another thing we should touch on is, like, okay, what if there's a bias? So you should definitely be very open and be clear, you know. Tell people, like, I am a big fan of this, or if you have a bias towards something, you should let people know.
My opinion on reviews, as of late, I haven't always had this opinion. I used to think, like Jared, everything should be as objective as possible. But recently, I've just kind of taken the opinion that if I like the game, I'm going to tell them I like it. I'm going to tell them why I like it. And I'm going to try to explain, you know, where I'm coming from.
Try to make them like it. No.
Yeah.
It's like you should definitely... everything, like, if there's technical issues with the game, or just, like, the technical aspects of the game, you know, get that out of the way or something like that.
Like, I'm not a big, like, Fallout fan, so never mind. I'm not going to use that as an example, but like the Total War games, like I like the Total War games, and even though they've been kind of shitty lately, I would tell people I still like it, even though it's kind of shitty compared to the other ones. You know? And
yeah. So also, I would say to that, like with the fact that you know, reviews, as I say, like it's good. I think it's good to be as objective as possible. But there is inevitably going to be some subjective criticism, and you know, just part of that is what you might not like in a game, and this is okay. I was talking to Diego with this off air. We weren't recording this before. So when you find issues with the game, or you find certain elements of it that you like or dislike, you can't just go into a game and say like, oh, I liked it because
there was
how did I phrase it
in there?
I can't remember. I'm referring to when I basically
food products. Whoa, I'm snack manager.
Also, like, I'm sorry. Continue.
Okay, so basically, you need to, whenever there is something you like, you need to very well say why you liked it and describe the element of the game very well. So it's like what may not appeal to you is going
to appeal to somebody else.
Yeah, may appeal to somebody else. So so basically, even if you know, have an overall, you know, negative opinion of a game because certain elements in the game, you need to specify those elements.
Your opinion.
Well, yeah, and just those elements, but by actually laying out in the review what those elements are and telling about them in depth, and then giving the reasons why you don't like them, by at least, you know, talking about those elements and describing them in there, even people that may like, you know, that in their game, it can still be the review can still be helpful to them.
Why you didn't like this?
Yeah, it can still be helpful to them, or vice versa. Maybe you thought the game was really good because of certain elements, and because you talked about those elements, they might have a negative opinion of the game because of that. But it can still be the main point of it is to be able to make your review helpful, regardless of whether or not somebody agrees with your overall assessment of the game or not. I guess that's the best way of putting it. Now, first impressions is kind of a tricky thing, because some people like view first impressions to some extent. Some people are like, it's like
sometimes
a review.
I don't always agree that
it's not.
Like as soon as something comes out, that's like when it
number one game in the world.
No. I mean it should be given a score right then. I always, but at the same time, I can see why.
Okay, let's actually talk about score now. I guess.
What I meant is that like, I'm more interested in what the final product turns out to be.
Do you mean awards, or do you mean...
I mean, like when a product comes out, is typically, like, judged, like, right when it comes out. But I'm more, like,
not with scores, but with awards.
Okay, I know what he's trying to say, though.
Like, I want to know what people think of it when it's, like, done. Like, when it's finally, like, polished off and everything.
How do you determine when it's done, then? I mean, other than the release date, you know what
Well, you're right there.
Because they could update it forever and just say, it's never done.
Nobody can
some
give
fall
a true
in
assessment
Diego's logic, but that's where So I know what he's trying to say. It's basically when the game releases, you know, that's when people do reviews of it. That's when you say a game was bad, good, or when you say a game had these issues, you always refer to the release date. But then later on down the line, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 months, they get stuff patched up. and the games working fine. Like Assassin's Creed Unity, for instance, was one of those games that had a lot of issues on launch, but basically at this point, it is fixed to my knowledge. I don't know the details on it, but they patched up like a lot of the bugs have been fixed and stuff, and the frame rate issues are fixed and all that. But I guess he's trying to say is that he kind of likes it when you're able to talk about a game. I don't know, I guess at that later level. But when you do a review, you have to do a review on release, because that's when people need to know whether or not they're going to buy the game or not.
That's what I'm saying. I understand why it's done, but I'm just saying, like...
You wish it didn't have to be like
okay,
that.
since it would be cool, like, you think it would be interesting to have follow-up content on games like that, like, how do you think we should go about doing that if we were to do something like that?
Well, it would be strange if a DLC came out and we thought it was better than the game.
Okay.
That happened like with Watch Dogs.
Exactly. So it's interesting that Diego brings that point up, because they have not. I don't know if you've played Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I own it.
Okay. And you finished it?
Yeah, it was good.
Anyways, Diego did not finish it, but he did play it.
No, it's just,
Wait, is that worth $16? It's on sale right now.
16? Yes, definitely.
16, not 15.
Yeah, 16, definitely. I would say that game.
I actually would agree with him there. If you want to just play the story, it's. Really
I'd say that
story.
game's worth like $40.
But okay, well.
Well, I don't know. It all depends.
Nothing's worth $40, dude.
John's a cheap PC gamer.
It's pretty cool, the stuff you can do in the game, and the only thing there are things I didn't like when the multiplayer could merge into your game. I had to turn that off because that was
okay.
annoying.
I love that. I love that element, and it doesn't really become an issue most of the time. And it's not like
they took so much of my cash and stuff away.
They don't take your cash away.
Well, just show up and
don't lose
steal.
anything, except for there's like a separate XP bar essentially that determines how good of an online play you are.
Yeah, do you know how low mine was?
It just.
I was like, I don't want. It's just interrupting me from what I'm trying.
Yeah, I have to do a
but-
mission, and it's like this player has entered.
Guys, we're
Okay,
getting
I was walking around a
Okay.
neighborhood in that game the
So
whole time in a container. He was just sitting inside a container,
okay,
I'm just like,
so John,
and I was right next to him
Okay,
when the
okay.
video showed him leaving my game.
I don't know. I'm really good at it though, so maybe that's a bit of a bias.
Hey,
but
I
I
upgraded
really
all
like
my
that when they
guns,
do that
man.
in games. But it is the fact that he said he turned it off. I think it definitely is something that when you make
The
a game
thing
like
is,
that, you need to
I
be able
love
to
that
have
they
that
have that optional for you. If they didn't have that optional, I probably wouldn't have been able to finish the game.
No, you
just
wouldn't. Well, see, here's the thing. Like, it only happens when you're in free roam. If you're in the middle of a mission, like, somebody's not going to interrupt you and do it.
I'll tell you what, I did kill one guy. It was fun.
Okay. So,
That was it.
in fact, to tell you the truth, I never mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but what you guys are most likely seeing as background gameplay for this podcast is my Watch Dogs online moments. So
It's all going to be Watch Dogs.
you'll get an example of how it is. But
I did like that they had. Did you notice in the game Watch Dogs that the what's his name wasn't. He was basically like a mock-up of Deadmau5. You know.
Oh yeah.
Rat
yeah.
Boy. Rat
No,
Boy.
his name is
something.
Default.
Default. There we go. But if you flip the symbol of his hacking thing upside down, it's the Assassin's Creed symbol. I still have his card too.
Like Easter egg thing.
Yeah, and they also have Olivier from Assassin's Creed 4. You remember when in Assassin's Creed 4 he went on a business trip, and then he never came back. So he went on a business trip over in Chicago, and your character takes him out
Okay.
in Watch Dogs.
Okay, that's
It's cool.
I've
And then
been a little
also
confused. I
there's-
thought you were talking about a character like directly from Assassin's Creed 4, and I'm like, what?
No, because that's the past. But I meant
Yeah.
I meant the guy that like hires you. He's like the French guy, and he's like, hello.
Yeah, okay. That's
Yeah,
it.
like-
So, okay, let's get back on track. So, as he was saying, the how some DLC could be better than the main game. Watch Dogs is a situation where it was that game. It's not. It didn't live up to the hype. Is the big reason it's sometimes looked down upon.
the character was very bland.
You know what? I will say this with his
Its supporting characters were really good.
I'm gonna. I might just spoil this little thing.
Okay, the game's been out for long enough.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, I haven't bought it.
Oh, that's right.
I'm buying it. Come on, don't
Okay.
spoil it.
Okay, so let's just get to the point. What I'm the game it was
Unless you
a
die.
decent game, but it didn't live up to that hype, and there was the whole graphics downgrade, and it kind of just put this negative stigma around the game.
It was more
But the
like-
game is not really a bad game. It's a pretty good game. But anyways, the DLC in that
No, I
situation,
hadn't
I
played
got talked into buying the Seasons Pass. The very first time I bought a Seasons Pass, and I don't think I'll do it again, but in this case, I was not really disappointed because the T-Bone DLC had
What was
its
his
own
name? I was
story
trying to
around
remember
it,
his name.
and T-Bone was a much more interesting character than Aiden.
Really?
And yeah, it was the DLC. It
I
even
know, a
added
hacker hobo.
some new types of stuff. It added some. Okay, the interesting thing was to some extent the side quest, like in that game, some like even
How
the
many hours of
collectibles.
gameplay was it?
Well, the main game was like about 100 hours, and the DLC was like a good extra 10
No,
hours.
that's what I meant. The DLC. I was
The
like,
DLC
100
was at
hours.
least another 10 hours.
Like, another complaint I have.
2 hours?
10 hours.
10. No.
About 10 hours.
Oh, 10 hours?
10 hours, yeah.
I mean,
If
kind
you
of-
just do the main missions, it's probably like 6.
I mean, like, one thing.
That's what I meant. Like, just doing the
But like,
main
I mean,
missions.
you do some free run
But
stuff.
6
and it
hours
added
is still a
some new
lot
type
for
of
DLC, I
activities.
will admit. That's pretty good.
But yeah, it's a
biggest
better.
complaint
I would say it's better than the
Watch Dogs
main game.
was.
Did you ever find the serial killer?
It was you
I did
could
that.
you could get like millions of dollars in like an hour. Like there's no
Yeah.
grinding for nothing.
For what?
Well, I mean, I don't think grind's the right word to use, but like it's
You
not really a
never beat it,
challenge. Like money
No, I
is
mean,
never
I
an
still
issue
have
in that
everything.
game. So
Still have everything.
let's talk about scoring now, because I know Diego was talking about scoring. So I'm kind of with him, as he already said. You know that scoring, maybe like no scores is a good thing, and that's where I think is the most controversial thing with reviews. I think. I know some people made a big deal about some review on some game recently. I can't remember what it was, but it had like some Japanese art style and whatever. Like the female art characters in the game were supposed to be like over sexualized or something, and they had a female write the review, and she kind of faulted the game because some of the characters were too over sexualized. But the thing about that, and then people like exploded because like everybody got good reviews pretty
I
much
know
everywhere
it
else.
exploded.
I always wondered because there's so many like female fans of anime, but I always wondered about that. Cause
Yeah, the
Yeah.
girls in anime
I
are
think-
so
I think,
oversexualized.
Most of the characters in anime are female.
Yeah, it's true.
or look female.
Seriously,
Yeah, or
the boy to girl ratio is like 1 to 3. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I should
So
have said girl to boy, but
Or like, okay, I'm gonna just ask this. Have you watched Naruto at all, or no?
no, I don't.
No? Okay, well, there was this one character who was, like, wearing a kabuki mask, and, like, Naruto, like, fell in love, and then, like, the character's like, by the way, I'm a guy, and then Naruto's like, what?
I don't remember that.
That literally happened in an episode, and I was like,
I don't think you
even
should-
I was shocked. I was like, what?
I don't remember if he showed any attraction towards it. But, he
But
might-
anyways,
Yeah, he did.
so
I don't know if that much.
the fact is, like, people exploded about this and had an issue with that, but it's like you gotta understand, it's like it's just this one reviewer, and and the developers of the game specifically came out there and made a statement and said they were glad that this was the person reviewing the game, and that they wouldn't have had it any other way. So to some extent, I can see maybe it has something to do with like some PR stuff, like they're trying to make it seem like they took it well or not. But I don't know. I think they are actually genuine about that comment. But like, yeah, it's all like reviews. You shouldn't just take one review and base like your purchasing decision off that. Look at because as you said, reviews are gonna have subjective criticism in it, no matter what.
Well, I don't believe you should purchase a game just because you watched a review that was negative or positive about
Well, that's
it.
what I say. You watch a variety of reviews, kind of get a general opinion of all the, because maybe there's some things that some people leave out or whatever. But I think part of that
There
is
is a
you need to be as
reason
thorough as
ABBA made a
possible.
song called "Take a Chance."
Oh, believe me, many people have done that.
You got to play that when you go to GameStop, people.
So, yeah, they should just they have that playing over the speaker. Yeah, have that playing over speakers and like subliminally like is sends
No, they
subliminal
have the-
messages and influences people into like pre-ordering more games.
They have like a speaker next to like the games that aren't selling too well. There's, like,
Take a chance, take a chance. They have like Lego something or what doesn't do the DS games really don't do well over there. I know that.
Yeah.
It used to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I used to play those.
So okay, so let's talk about scoring.
Side
So
back.
part of this, the scoring thing, as Diego said, like maybe they don't need scores, and I think there is. I'm not going to say either way that scores or no scores are right or wrong. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong, but like I'm not gonna like. I think having no score at all is, to tell you the truth, to some extent, is more safe than not having it, or than actually having a score. because the part of a review is it's about the critique of the game. A score means almost nothing. It's just a number, and the numbers mean different things to different people. Now, here's my take on it. I think although the criticism is the critique, not necessarily criticism, but the critique of the game is your main focus, I do think that personally at least for a while, will be using a score or at least some sort of a final verdict. But for maybe like the first couple reviews I do on the channel, I will actually use a number system, 1 to 10, only whole numbers. That's how I'm going to do it. And I will see, how it works. And I think it can work out differently for different people. But the problem with a number system a lot of times is, first of all, it works under like 2 conditions. One, you have to set up what each what each number on the scale represents. So as long as you make that clear, that's the first hurdle out of the way. The second thing that you have to have in order to make it work is your fans have to be familiar, or not necessarily fans, but the people who watch you have to be familiar with kind of your taste of games.
That should be our outro song as well. Take a chance, take a chance, take a chance. Yeah.
Oh, you can do that outro song.
Wait, no, we should make that the intro song, like Take a Chance, that way they don't leave. Or maybe that would make them leave, I don't know.
They're like, ABBA,
They're just like, ABBA? Really? Right now?
So your viewers basically... Okay. So your viewers basically have to, once they understand your personal taste in games, I think that helps. And they have to be familiar with how your scoring system works. So you have to have that, outline of how your scoring system works, and then you have to be able to find a way to get people to understand it. But that's why, just anybody scoring it, somebody can score a game differently, whereas if somebody you focus on the critique, you can get a much more accurate. I guess the best way to say it is the score can in many cases be distracting from the actual critique. So that's kind of my take on it. I have explained it better in past times, but anyways, hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to say. So John, what is your take on scores? Or how do you think scoring should be handled, and how will you handle scoring?
I usually score out of 100, so technically it's a percentage type of thing. But I also add double decimal.
I would prefer a percentage.
Well, not really.
Double decimal, sometimes triple decimal after it, so it'd be like 87.39%.
He's joking about that.
I'm not joking. All my reviews will feature that.
Well, I've never seen him do it in a review.
That's because you haven't seen my reviews.
Oh, I have seen your reviews.
That's hurtful.
I have done out of 100.
Well, I know you do out of 100.
I will do out of 100 with the decimal.
Why would you not know this?
Okay, I don't know.
I'll do it to the 4th decimal.
Now what I have to ask you is, what do you think that accomplishes? Do you think there is a difference? Like, people can actually distinguish between like an 86. I mean, let's not even include decimals, but like an 86 and an 87. Do you think people can actually make a distinguish between that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because what is to say that a game...
People are on the edge and they say, oh, 85. I don't want to buy a game that's 85. I want
a game
86 maybe, but not 85.
Okay, bear with me. So, say you score one game an 85 and you score another game an 86. Can you actually say that game that scored an 86 is a better game?
It'd be like 85.69 and then 86.2 or something. Yeah, I would say the 86 is the 86 is definitely
reviews, I understand, because technically, if you're using the score as an actual tool, then to me it's just ridiculous. But
it's
if you're
a precision tool, man.
If you're, nobody can determine what the difference is between an 85 and an 86. Like, you don't know what that means just based on.
That's not true. If it's that close, I'll tell them. I'll be like, okay, point off for this. I took away a percentage for this, maybe.
Okay, well, okay, that goes back to what
I'm
saying.
I'm taking away 15.6% for this.
Okay, I can kind of understand that. When you say taking so many points off, like 1 point off this, 1 point off for this.
A precision score can translate to a rough score. So, like, an 85, you can say that's an 8.5 out of 10, right? Or even a 9 out of 10 if you want to round up. But once you get like, if you say 8 out of 10, you know, they don't know if that 8 is close to a 9 or close to a 7, unless you say so. Which,
it's just
in which
a solid
case,
8.
you might as well
Okay,
just be using
here's
the
the
decimal
thing.
system.
Okay, so kind of, you know how I was saying, you know, you have to set up what your scoring system means. Well, that's why I like to use out of 10 if I do it. And I don't think a game should ever be given any lower than a 1. Since I work on, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, single. Just.
I don't think that, but that's fine.
But yeah, I think provided a game actually is released, it actually can get a 1. Because, you know, it actually like wasn't canceled or whatever. The development was good enough for it to actually be released.
It may not have been released full, though. They could have just released it because of a contracting issue.
Yeah, but like, yeah, to me, I mean, a 1 is bad either way. But what you do is like the 5 is the neutral ground. It's like the average. Like I understand, I don't
know if I believe that.
If you say what is the
Yeah,
average score that games get from most outlets, I would say somewhere around 7 or whatever. But
podcast guys, not argument.
what it means is that a 5 being the average, it's like the middle ground. It's like a mediocre game. So you have to have something, because here is the problem I have with other, you know, outlets that score it out of 10 or whatever, like Game Informer or IGN or whatever.
Actually,
is because
Game Informer has pretty accurate review.
Okay,
You know,
well,
I think an 8 is average. That's what I think is average.
I agree.
8 is 8 to me means a great game. So like 5 is like just average.
See, 8
6
to me is like a B.
7 is like
7 is good.
No.
8 is great.
Like,
If we turn this into like
But that's
like
what you have
a
in
school
point.
assignment, a
Grade
B is a
point.
good grade.
A,
that's what
B,
that's what I'm
C,
saying. I know it's not
D,
actually taken as a grade point, but that's what
and
everyone
F.
accepts it like.
Yeah, everyone treats it like a grade from school, so they're like, okay.
Yeah.
a
So when
B
they say
I
a
don't
game
know.
out of 10, if I see a 7, I'm like, oh, they gave this, you know, it's a C. It's like you
Yeah.
passed, but
Yeah, you passed, but you could have done better.
But
Yeah.
there's a lot of games that
if you get a B, you're like, you were close,
Okay.
but there were some things that you could have worked on.
So-
A,
Yep.
holy crap.
keep
this
in mind,
game-
people, this is why I put such a heavy emphasis on the actual critique. So, because scores are, you have to specifically know what the score means, and that's why scores can be a very distracting thing.
Well, I don't know. I think
I wanna
most people
experiment.
universally use the school system, though, as a
No.
marker.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say so, because here's the thing. The problem I have with all these, as I was saying, like Game Informer or IGN or whatever, using this, is because scores hold a much, much higher weight per level. Like from a 1, the difference between a game that's like rated at a 2 out of 10 versus a 3 out of 10, that gap between a 2 out of 10 and 3 out of 10 is much more significant than a game that's rated like a 7 out of 10 versus an 8 out of 10. Like, it requires much less to bridge the gap between two different numbers on the side of the scale above a 5 versus games that are like really bad games and they're worse than a 5. So it's just the weighting, it's imbalanced. Whereas if you have 5 as being the neutral ground, you'd be like, okay, this is your average game, and then each increment. So like if you have 5. It's average. 6 is above average. 7 is good. 8 is great. 9 is like almost perfect. It's like an absolutely amazing, fantastic game. And then 10 is like just shy of perfection. It's like a legendary game, like a must-have, essential game.
See, I consider 100% is like perfect. So I don't think I'd ever give a game a perfect score. Like, I'd say 99 would be like the highest I go.
Yeah,
Maybe
okay. Well, I guess if you work, I can see if you're working on like an out of 100 score. That makes a little bit more sense.
It's probably the highest I go, 99.235.
Yeah. So then you got the opposite end of
2356.
Okay, you got the opposite end of my scale, which is, the 4 is below average, 3 is bad, 2 is just garbage, it's a terrible game, and then 1 is like possibly one of the worst games that's ever been made.
I'd give I'd give a game a negative score.
See, that doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't go past like -5%, I don't think.
Yeah, but what does that mean?
Somebody's at your door.
So
that means the game is so bad, it shouldn't have been released, it shouldn't have been considered, it should have been stopped. At every single decision made, it should have been stopped, but it wasn't.
I can see that being like a comical aspect to it, like having a comical aspect to it in that.
I'm being very serious. I'll give a game a negative score.
Yeah, but I will just say when you have like I mean, I guess that's why it just is all about the critique. Is I guess what we'll leave it at. What's your opinion on the Metacritic score, John? I think this is basically going to be me and John on this section right here. But
I like it, but I think that sometimes the critics pull a bit too much weight, especially because some critics will favor certain companies for reasons, and there's a lot of corruption going on.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of one of the I think the Metascore is just really it's not weighted correctly.
I mean, Total Biscuit said no to the companies, and they gave him cancer. So you know, scary stuff, man.
But yeah, I mean, he's
Not really. Yeah.
yeah.
They made him bald too. That's just
But-
cruel.
Oh,
Companies are
okay. Those
Yeah,
dark turns.
one step beyond, man.
Whoa, man.
So-
Take it easy.
Here's the problem. In case you guys don't know how Metacritic works, I was just refreshing my memory on this, and it turns out I do have the correct idea of how it works. But I'm going to read you something real quickly directly from their website, and it explains how it works. So, a peek behind the curtain. Creating our proprietary Metascores is a complicated process. We carefully curate a large group of the world's most respected critics, assign scores to their reviews, and apply a weighted average to summarize the range of their opinions. The result is a single number that captures the essence of critical opinion in one Metascore.
See, they use out of 100 because it's really precise.
Yeah, but it doesn't. The weighted average thing just throws the whole score out of proportion. But anyways, why the term weighted average matters? Anyways, this is how the weighted average works, and this is, I think, the big flaw with it. Metascore is a weighted average in that we assign more importance or weight to some critics and publications than others. So one critic is more important than the other and has more influence on the score, which to me is absolutely just unethical, based on their quality and overall stature. In addition, for music and movies, we also normalize the resulting scores akin to grading on a curve. So, yeah. It just, to me, it's just, you could have one outlet that has I mean, it's not like multiple reviews are coming from the same outlet. It's like one person from, like, Game Informer would review something, and one person from, like, IGN would review a game, and one person from some really small site would review a game. And then they factor that into the overall score, and then they say, okay, well, this small site, their opinion matters less, and they can only influence that score by a little bit. Like, you could have a bunch of tiny outlets give the game, like, a really good score, and then a big outlet actually would probably be more likely the other way around. The small outlets give a game a really bad score, but then just a few big outlets give the game, like, a really good score. And overall, if you average it out and everybody had an equal weight, the game would probably turn out being, after all the scores are averaged out, you know, maybe a below average game or whatever. But with this weighting system, just a few outlets giving it a good score that hold a lot of sway can make the game seem like it's a really good game, even though maybe a greater percentage of people thought the game was a bad game. So Metacritic score is kind of faulty in my opinion, and I don't really see why they use it.
Well, I think they should definitely go to the same system that I use, with double decimals behind the percentage, just to make it more clear.
But it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it does. I would.
Okay,
I mean,
if you rated a game like an 86.3 or an 86.32 and an 86.33, I would have no clue. Like
well,
I
you
could
know
not-
which game was better, right?
No, I wouldn't.
Well, yeah, it's the one with the higher
Not
score.
from the score. That's what I'm saying. So it
Well, the
all
one with the higher
comes
score is the
back
better
to critique.
game, Jared. Higher score is always the better game.
I guess in a very subjective way, yes. So in your opinion, it is just a slightly better game. But I, for one, just can't wrap around my mind how
Well,
How
we
you
choose
could-
different scoring systems, so like you said, it was important to explain the scoring system, and that's just the scoring system that I
Yeah.
use.
But, like, this is where I'm actually concerned. Like, okay, I can understand your out of 100 scoring system, but I'm concerned for, like, that other people won't be able to understand how it works if you go any more precise than that.
Well, it's more precise. It's smaller gain points.
Because
Like,
the games are
for instance,
about,
like the color of the HUD, that would be about 0.1%. The color of the HUD, right there.
Whatever, guys.
I think of something smaller than that. Maybe weapon damage or weapon ammo for like a single weapon.
Well, I would kind of, I don't know. I really don't understand his scoring system, but I don't know. You guys can be the judge of that.
Melee time, like how long it takes you to hit somebody.
Yeah.
That would be like a 10th.
I can understand, like, if you're being that specific, it doesn't really make any sense. But if you're saying, I can understand if you're like having a score out of 100 and you're saying like, okay, every fault I find with the game that it actually affects my experience with it is like -1 point, or like maybe a certain type of thing, like maybe if the game has, severe frame rate issues, that counts for maybe 5 points or something like that.
That would be like 50 points.
Or 10. I don't know. It all
points
depends.
Points, you got to keep in mind though, points and percentages do not directly scale into each other. It's a ratio. It's a ratio of 3/4.
Now I'm just super confused.
Well, because like I say, mark off a point. That doesn't mean I mean a single percentage. It means I mean 75% of a percent. So 0.75%. You'll get it when I do a review.
I'm just face palming right now. This is just ridiculous.
Well, I can use variable scores to make it easier instead of the ratio.
But I guess what this really, illustrates or shows is that just pay attention. Like, review scores are not necessary. It's all about what somebody, how they voice their opinion of the game and how they critique it.
So you don't use scores then, because they're not necessary.
Well, I'm gonna try out some scores, but under certain we'll see how things go. Depending on what kind of feedback we get back, I may eventually go to a non-score system,
well,
and just have a final verdict. Like this game, I would recommend this game for people that like this type of elements to it. So at this point in the podcast, our recording of the last 2 minutes of it and our outro kind of got lost somehow. So I'm all by myself here, and I'll kind of wrap up the last thought that I was talking about. So the last thought I was talking about was how Let's Plays, what is the ideal Let's Play as well, and how does all this factor in this? So at their core, I believe Let's Plays are designed to give exposure to maybe less known games, especially indie games, and help to some extent help the consumer make an informed purchasing decision based on that little snippet of the game that they see, while at the same time delivering it in an entertaining way, and thus a lot of Let's Plays have just become pure entertainment, which I don't think, that's okay to some, I would say, but it's better if you can still be entertaining but still help a consumer make an informed purchasing decision. But I think most Let's Players still, have that side to them, and you can, you can watch them play a game and, hear some of their thoughts about the game. So I think it's important for them to actually give some thoughts about the game, because there's some stuff that maybe you as a viewer may not be able to notice, or just the visual element may not help you make an informed purchasing decision. Maybe if there's something with the controls that isn't made evident just in the video, if a Let's Player shares their concerns about the game, or just, talks about it and maybe addresses any concerns that they have, that can be a factor. I think the most important part of the Let's Play probably is the entertainment element of it, more so than the critique. And the critique, that's what first impressions and reviews and all that stuff are for. So, due to all the complications we've been having, I'm actually recording this a little bit later after the fact, but I'm going through the editing. So at this point, I can confirm that we will have a Batman Arkham Knight review coming to you. Diego is actually out of town this weekend. He will be back at the end of the week, so probably this Sunday, if not by Sunday, this next Monday, we will have a review out for you on Batman Arkham Knight on the channel for you guys to watch. And also, within the next couple days, I am planning on putting 2 videos, one being my thoughts on The Witcher 3 after completing it, and The second video being a news video. So those should be out by Tuesday or Wednesday. Also, maybe I'm gonna do a Gwent tournament thing. If you guys made it to the end of this video, in Witcher 3 there's a card game called Gwent, so I'm gonna put up a video, either a whole video with all the Gwent matches strung together, or I will use that as background for future podcasts. So let me know what you guys think, how you guys think I should do that, if you made it to the end of this video. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and episode 2 of our podcast should be coming next week, and we will be talking next weekend, and we will be talking about news then, so stay tuned for that. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.